They were playing us all along, guys. And I'm going to show you how the game actually works. As you look this way, there's always another narrative going on this way. In today's video, I'm going to break down how BlackRock was going through the back door to get access to Bitcoin. As they told you, their clients had no interest in it. It's used for money laundering. Remember, Trump told you that as well. I'm a dollar guy. I'm not a crypto guy. Came back and ran as the crypto capital of the world, the Bitcoin president. Larry Fink told you to look this way. And I'm going to show you how BlackRock not only had a position in MicroStrategies, but held their position strong as they went all in on Bitcoin. The story of Strategy B, MicroStrategies, that became a Bitcoin treasury, is a story that will go down in history. And if you can't manage the noise, if you can't manage your emotions, and you can't handle this volatility, you're going to get wrecked. But if you can take a step back and look at the 30,000-foot overview that Bitcoin has crushed all markets over the last 10 years, and there's a reason behind that, guys. Bitcoin was created in 2009. XRP was created about 2012 going into 2013. XRP will be a big part of the world currency in regards to transacting. It's going to be a bridge across the world. It's not a zero-sum game. There'll be competition, and competition is good. Okay, XRP will be a big solve for the liquidity crisis. Bitcoin is a new store of value like gold. Things like WLFI will be the new form of decentralized banking where you're the bank. And companies like American Bitcoin will be the infrastructure and the picks and shovels. Okay, so I'm going to first break down and I'm going to recommend that you go watch this video. On the back end, okay, I share with you exactly what I'm doing. No gatekeeping. I'm going to share with you my portfolio. I'm going to share with you my top 7. I'm going to share with you how I do things, why I do things, but I want you to be empowered to do your own research. I am a person of conviction. Nobody can FUD me in. Nobody could FUD me out. I build ecosystems. I'm disciplined. I'm consistent, and I follow it. That's how winning is done. So I'm going to first recommend that you go watch this on Grant Cardone's channel. The title is He Bet 5 million on Bitcoin, then told me my fund was shit, Michael Saylor. So that's how you can find it. It is a really good interview. I recommend you watch the whole interview. So let me give you some context here before we continue. Okay. MicroStrategies, which was a software company that transitioned into a Bitcoin treasury, was actually failing. He admits it. COVID hit him really, really hard, right? All their employees were going to work from home and big companies were siphoning their employees. He had to throw a Hail Mary, and he decided, I think it was 500 million. Don't quote me, go watch the interview. But he threw a 500 million, 250 million was the first. He had to go to the board of directors to get approval. He was the first Bitcoin treasury, and that moved radically transformed their company. Now, what I want you to think about for just a moment, okay, is remember, BlackRock was one of the top holders in MicroStrategies. They are now still the number 3 holder in MicroStrategies. So if you knew you're one of the top holders in MicroStrategies, that they were going to go all in on Bitcoin, but you didn't believe in Bitcoin, wouldn't you, as BlackRock, one of the largest asset managers in the world, back off your position? But I'm going to share with you how they held their position pretty steady through all of this, getting backdoor access to Bitcoin. And then all of a sudden, they launch IBIT, the XRP ETF, excuse me, the Bitcoin ETF. Hopefully someday they will. Maybe I just, that was future thinking. Bitcoin ETF, and told you all of a sudden it's a flight to quality. When your country's debasing your currency, Bitcoin becomes a flight to quality. Don't get played by this stuff, guys. Okay. Cryptocurrency is the future. You cannot be price sensitive. Buy when there's red, sell when there's green. Okay, so we're going to watch this. I want you to closely listen to what he is saying. Okay, and then I'm going to position and share with you BlackRock's position in MicroStrategies, how it hardly changed over that time. And if you're the largest asset manager in the world and they're going all in on Bitcoin and you don't believe in Bitcoin, then why the hell would you hold your position in a company that's going all in as a Bitcoin treasury?
Set up a relationship with a crypto exchange. That would take you 6 weeks to 12 weeks. Then you would have to wire them the money. Then you would have to buy it. It was very difficult. And even if you did it, let's say that you actually had money that was free and clear and you set up a crypto relationship. So you put all your money into that, but you can't borrow against it. Right. And so we became
virtually illiquid.
We were an institutional on-ramp for people.
Right.
Hear what he just said? We were an institutional on-ramp for people to Bitcoin.
Right, you can borrow against MSTR, you can buy MSTR, you can direct your retirement funds into MSTR. You can, by the way,
you
there's
didn't
no
have this
IBIT.
story though. In 2020, you didn't know this would happen, right?
No, no,
yeah,
no, I didn't know.
yeah, right.
I learned it. It was a fortunate happenstance, a serendipitous development.
Right. Okay. So what happened was, let me give you context. So their company was failing, and he decided to make this bold move as a CEO. And he had to talk to the board of directors, and they were like, nah, he wanted to do 500 million. They allowed him to do 250 million in stock buybacks, right? Just in case people wanted to bail out. He did, I think, 250 million, and they allowed him to do, I think, 175 million after that. And now they're one of the biggest Bitcoin treasuries in the world. Okay. Now we got American Bitcoin, which is going to be, I think, one of the fastest growing treasuries. So you got American Bitcoin, which we'll talk about that narrative on the back end. But here's the thing. Okay. BlackRock's position, guys, in 9/30/2020, this is when the decision started to happen around MicroStrategies, and they became Strategy B. Okay. Around when the first BTC buys were happening for MicroStrategies, they had 1.2 million shares. Okay. After the buys were made, they still had 1.2 million shares on 12/31/2020. Okay. On 3/31/2021, they still had 1.2 million shares. And this is now MicroStrategies is going all in on Bitcoin. BlackRock didn't change their position. So if you're not bullish on Bitcoin, then why wouldn't you change your position, right? Wouldn't you be backing off thinking, oh, this isn't going to work out? They knew something, guys. They knew something about Bitcoin that we don't know yet, right? It was created in 2009. XRP was created around 2012, 2013. XRP solves a massive liquidity crisis. This is just logic, family. This is just logic. The big three are going to exist just like all of the other cycles, guys. It's going to be Bitcoin. It's going to be Ripple and XRP. It's going to be things like Solana, Ethereum, right? I believe WFI is going to be in the top there. So be very careful with these influencers promoting tokens. Oh, the next best thing, guys. I'm telling you, every boom and bust cycle, the .com boom, whatever boom it is, it always ends up with the Googles, the Amazons, the Ripples, the Coinbase, the Krakens, the Bitcoin, the Solana, the Ethereum. Do not play games with your wealth, okay? So we continue on. Their position decreased a little bit on 6/30/2022. Okay, they went a little bit down. They went down to 734,000 shares. Okay, then they started to re-increase their position in 2023, 880K. They went back up to a 907K. And on 3/31/2024, they went up to 1.2 million, back up to 1.2 million. And then BlackRock had the fastest growing ETF IBIT in Bitcoin. Okay, so BlackRock's various funds collectively held around 5 to 5.5% of MSTR, roughly 14.15 million shares, putting them at the top 3 to 4 institutional holders alongside Vanguard and CAPL Group. So digest that for a moment. Vanguard and BlackRock, two of the biggest asset managers in the world, did not back off their position when he went all in on Bitcoin. But they're telling you no to Bitcoin. It's just logic, family. It's just logic. In 2030, Bitcoin is going to be the new gold. You're going to be operating on blockchain technology. This is why I need you to take a deep breath. I need you to stop being price sensitive. I need you to stop being emotional. Okay, I'm going to say something's going to piss people off right now. Put your big girl pants on. Put your big boy pants on. Your emotions are their profits. It's time to man up and woman up, and let's get after it. Get disciplined, get consistent, build ecosystems. Stop getting wrecked. Stop panic selling. Stop trying to get rich quick. Build an ecosystem over the next 5 years and get your shit together, because this is going to happen. As Raoul Paul says, don't F this up, guys. Okay, so let's continue on. Now, I want to put this narrative to rest where people are like, oh, he's going to get liquidated. You know, there's this whole $75,000 narrative around MicroStrategies getting liquidated. We have some, synthetic option calls in dividend stocks and where it's connected to MSTR or the performance of MSTR. I'm not worried about it, guys. He has to go down very, very, very low to get liquidated. But you got to understand, guys, they have treasuries balanced in here as well. So listen to what he says around how hardcore Bitcoin has to drop for them to get liquidated.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Last two.
Okay. Where do you have to liquidate? Where do you have to liquidate any MSTR?
I don't think we're liquidating. Look, we have $8 billion of debt, and we have 65 to $70 billion.
$57 billion of equity today.
Yeah. So in terms of Bitcoin would have to fall 90%
from here
for us to be sort of collateralized, to be one-on-one, at which point we probably would dilute the equity, and so it would be bad for the equity.
You would dilute the equity because you would just issue more.
We'd have to sell more equity. We're not going to, but the point is we're never going to liquidate.
Okay.
The equity is going to be a loser.
Yeah.
If Bitcoin fell to zero tomorrow forever, then the bonds won't come. The bonds will default.
Yeah.
Right? But a 90% drawdown, we wouldn't default.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. From the horse's mouth, a 90% drawdown, they wouldn't default. So be careful with the noise out there on the internet. And then as all that noise is happening, as the market's coming down, just in strategies, Bitcoin-backed credit weekly volume hits a new all-time high. Wall Street is embracing Bitcoin, guys. Don't get played by this. And the reason why I'm talking about Bitcoin, number one, is it's my number 2 holding, and I'm only going to share with you what I do. But number 3, guys, Bitcoin drives 60% of the market. It drives everything we do. And eventually things will start to decouple. It seems like Bitcoin's decoupling a little bit from the S&P. But I think it's important to understand Bitcoin and its performance and what things are happening. For example, we own 6 companies. One of our companies has a treasury. Our main company, our main hub has a treasury. We started a Bitcoin treasury, an XRP treasury, and my second highest performing company, I'm making the recommendation to my team that we start a treasury for that company in January, because it's my job as the CEO of these companies to increase enterprise value. And we'd run 20% profit margins, and that profit margin is income that's coming in that's trash. They're going to devalue the living shit out of your currency, guys. Pay attention. Okay, they're going to print in low interest rate, and your cash is going to get worthless. That is why they're positioning themselves in Bitcoin. That is why Eric Trump has created a Bitcoin mining facility with Hub 8, which is a Bitcoin treasury. And that's going to go into my actual narrative that I've created, which I'm going to share with you exactly what I'm doing. Okay. Anthony Pompliano saying we're near the bottom here. Let's check this out.
You know, I heard something pretty interesting. Matt Siegel over at Van Eck said, well, Bitcoin's, in terms of Bitcoin's volatility, has been cut in half over the last year or two. And so if that's the case, if we're used to 80% drawdowns, maybe now the drawdowns are about 40%, right? You would expect that if the volatility has been cut in half. Well, we just saw a 36, 37% drawdown. And so I do think that as volatility compresses, people will be disappointed to the upside because it's not going to have these blow off tops that they expected. But also there may be some, safety in terms of these 80% drawdowns are gone as well. And so I tend to think that we probably are somewhere around the bottoming. Again, if you see the fear and greed index at, I think it was 8 for Bitcoin, 6 in equities, that tells me that you can't stay there that long. And so I think that we might just go sideways for a while here and then start to kind of grind back up over the next couple of weeks.
That's exactly what I think is going to happen. So what he's saying right there, just to simplify this, right, is that Bitcoin is not having these huge swings like it used to. Now, 30% is catastrophic in the stock market and crypto market. That's pretty normal. So if you can't handle that, that's why, and I totally get it. That's why people coming from traditional markets or most people coming into crypto are brand new to the markets because only 10% of the population owns the stock market, right? Owns stocks. So new people are coming in and these influencers are, telling you're going to get super rich really quick with these huge price predictions. And it creates this false narrative within your head and you're not building systems. Okay. What he's saying, though, is these big volatile swings may get sucked out. That's why I use Bitcoin as a store of value like gold. It's not where I'm going to get my biggest bang for my buck, which goes into my narrative. Okay. So here's what I want to show you guys. So here I'm the co-founder and creator. This is our demo account for Merlin. The reason why we created Merlin is exactly what happened on 10/10/2025, the big flash crash. Exactly why we see people panicked. We see people pissed off. We pull profits. You're in the market to pull profits. There's only a winner and there's a loser. That's it. You're paying the interest or you're earning the interest. That's it, guys. There's no emotion in this. And tribalism in one asset class is the greatest way to get wrecked. Diversify a little bit. Now you can be hyper concentrated like billionaires do in one asset class, maybe a couple, stick with it, which I'll share with you my narrative. I'm operating like the billionaires, guys. I'm using that. That's what I study. I study Ray Dalio, Kathy Woods, Robert Kiyosaki, Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett. That's all I'm studying, guys. I like Raoul Paul. I like his stuff. So I study these people and I go deep into understanding discipline, consistency, structure, feed the ecosystem, buy the red, sell the greed, touch some grass, eat good food with good people, and get your shit together. It's not that difficult, guys. Okay. You don't want to get rich quick because you're going to get wrecked. So what we do is we set up our exit plans, and we can help you with this with Merlin. If you go here to Merlin, you can download it 30 days for free down below in the description of my YouTube channel, or click my social media platform. We will show you how to set up an exit plan. Guys, on the way up, pull profits, get your initial investment out, and then ride the house money. Okay. It changes the energy and frequency, because if you're panicking every time it goes red, that means you're over committed to the market. Okay. You should be celebrating when it goes red, and you should be panicking when it's green. Or you can just be a long-term holder. I have many mix of clients and people I coach. Most people are just long-term holders. Nothing wrong with that at all. They got their nice salary coming in. Maybe they got a 401k. They got their insurance stacked, and they're just letting this ride till 2029. And that's when the real big price appreciation is going to come in. We still have tons of tokenization coming, right? But if you're like me, I pull profits because I feed a monster ecosystem. And this is exactly how we do it. So let's dive in, and I'm going to share with you exactly what I do. Okay. No gatekeeping here. So I use what's called CAPL DR. It's my strategy that I created. It's cash flow into appreciating assets that have fixed supply that are deflationary, opposite of the US dollar. Okay. When I profit from these assets, I put it into cash value life insurance protection. I always protect my principal. And then I use leverage responsibly, not the kind of leverage that wrecked everybody on 10/10/2025. Okay. Do not leverage your crypto, guys. You are not Michael Saylor. You are not these big asset managers that have large amounts of money. They can raise capital really quick. Do not leverage your crypto. It is too volatile. Wait until the volatility gets sucked out. Wait until you have tons of liquidity. Wait until you understand how to use leverage. We use leverage on the insurance side of Family Bank. And then DR is de-risk, de-risk, de-risk. So how do I create cash flow? Okay. I took my income, my profits and my income from 2020 to 2022 from crypto, and I built businesses and created more cash flow, just like they told us to do, right? If you can't make money while you sleep, you work until you die, Warren Buffett. I took the income and I turned it into cash flow, richest man in Babylon. The way that I create cash flow is I make money 24 hours a day while I sleep. I scaled my businesses to do that. And then I buy dividends, which is, I'm obsessed with dividends now. Dividend stocks. You can look up dividend stocks, Warren Buffett style investing. There's high risk dividends all the way down to low risk dividends. You can earn anywhere from 2% per year. You can earn 10 to 15% per year. You know, Michael Saylor launched a bunch of preferred stocks that have dividends attached to them. You throw in $1 million, you could be making about $100,000 per year, not guaranteed, but these all have risk to them. And then you go up into high risk, synthetic options, which are, synthetic option calls that are attached to the market. It's kind of a newer thing over the last year and a half. We're producing 70% per year on some of these. But remember what I said? I de-risk. So what I do is my extra income outside of bills and my cash flow coming in from dividends, I put into assets. I stack XRP, Bitcoin. Let me give you my exact portfolio and the model and my thesis behind it. XRP is number one by a long shot. That's the payment rails. Bitcoin is a store of value like gold. I'm storing my value there. I'm not going to get my biggest bang for my buck. Volatility is getting sucked out. It'll grow 50% every year. That's pretty badass savings if you think about it, right? But I stuff more into the ones where I can get larger amounts of returns like XRP. Okay, it's my biggest holding company-wise and personally. Next is Solana. WLFI, World Liberty Financial. That is actually about to jump Solana. I have HBAR, XLM, and VChain. Those are my top 5. Here is my narrative that I'm creating. I have WLFI, the new World Bank DeFi platform. I'm now stacking American Bitcoin, ABTC. It is not a dividend stock. It is a single exposure stock to Eric Trump's Bitcoin mining company that has a treasury to it. So I have the picks and shovels. Then I own Bitcoin, the actual gold. Okay, WFI, the new DeFi platform, and XRP, the bridge currency. Okay, so we got the bridge currency, we got the picks and shovels with a treasury mixed into it, getting exposure to Bitcoin's price appreciation. We have WFI, which is the World Liberty Financial, which is the new World Bank. That is my narrative. I'm sticking to it. That is inside the cryptocurrency ecosystem. I use cash value life insurance. That's my P part. The reason why it gets a bad rap is, number one, is they're not structured properly. They're not funded properly, and they're called cash value life insurance. You need cash in them to make them work because they have cost of insurance. It's really heavy in the first 7 years. Money compounds every 7 years at 10%. If you don't put money in these, They don't work. So people are getting screwed over because they're not structured properly, and they don't teach you how to fund them properly, and they set it and they disappear. Your agent should be reaching out to you every single year to help you drive it. They're like Lamborghinis. Okay. We use them properly. We structure them properly. We fund them properly, and we put cash in them because we use them as family banks, which brings me into L. I use leverage on the insurance side. We can borrow with no liquidation risk, okay, at low interest rates to beat the hurdle rate, which is interest plus inflation, to do what? To buy more cash flow, to buy more assets. So imagine a world. I pull profits in the next 6, 7, 8 weeks or 9 weeks when this stuff goes up, which I believe it's going to. I pull profits calmly, 50% off the top. I stuff as much as I can based on the MIC rules. I stuff as much as I can in my insurance policies. Okay, that creates a family bank. I now have protected principal, and the markets come collapsing down, my principal is insured. Okay, that also creates leverage. Markets come collapsing down. I'm like, yes, please go down as low as possible. I leverage against my insurance policy at 5%, and boom, I buy it in the bear market and accumulate and accumulate and accumulate, and boom, it shoots up. Richest man in Babylon. I take the profits and I pay off the leverage, and now I have free Bitcoin, free XRP. And along the way, I buy cash flow through dividends, and then once I beat the hurdle rate there, now I have free cash flow. That's how winning is done. That's called a system. It's called discipline. It's called consistency. That's the key. An idiot with a plan will beat a genius without a plan every single time. So let's go over the rules again. Do not leverage your cryptocurrency, guys. Don't do it. It's too volatile unless you have, and I'll give you an example. We leveraged our Bitcoin. We only did 25% of our overall portfolio. So when we put it on a DeFi platform, they give us 70% of 25. It was our liquid, just like Michael Saylor, our liquidation was so low, but we had capital in all other places just in case something happened. We could right size that very, very quickly. We took the capital, tax-free money, and we bought our insurance firm. Okay. It was already generating cash flow that we had already had a business. We just moved into first position. Okay. So we were able to pay it off. We paid it off. We have zero leverage on the crypto side. I'm a big person in saying, do not F you up your crypto. Don't leverage your crypto. Okay. It's too volatile, guys. Do not margin your assets unless you have money to right size that. If you're going to margin it, do very, very low margin. That's why I like the insurance side. It's safe. It's secure. It comes off your death benefit. If you run into trouble, you don't have to pay it off because it comes off your death benefit. Okay. So I hope that helps. I hope it reaches your heart well. Just be careful with the hype, with the hopium. Today is the 25th. People are telling you on November 22nd that, XRP was going to skyrocket. This is just not how it works, guys. There'll be some bumps and there'll be some bruises, and there's going to be another black swan. I promise you, because institutions aren't here yet. And if you're properly positioned and you believe what you hold, when it collapses, you buy more. That's why you don't leverage, because it's going to happen again, guys. We're playing with a whole different group now. They could smash this market in 1 second. One tweet by Trump on 10/10/2025 smashed your cryptocurrency portfolio and dropped 19 billion of liquidation. That was the liquidation event. It's been 6 weeks after the liquidation event. It's almost dried up. They sucked out all the liquidity. They're buying the dips, and I'm gonna anticipate this is gonna slowly start creeping back up again. But what goes up must come down. We're gonna go back into a bear market, guys. Stop believing people's bullshit with super cycles and all this stuff. There's always going to be a bear market. There's always going to be a winner. There's always going to be a loser. So always get some off the table. Don't be greedy, guys. But when you pull it off the table, don't buy shit. Buy cash flow, buy protection, and get back into the markets when everybody's running from it. Okay. I love you guys. I appreciate you, as we always say. Warriors, get your shit together. Love you guys. Hey guys, I do not invest people's crypto. I will not DM you. That's not me on WhatsApp. That's not me on Telegram. I have education platforms. We have education programs where I break down everything I just shared with you guys in detail. We show you everything that we do. That's in my social media platform. You can set up a consultation with my team or down below. We also have Freedom Insurance. That is my insurance firm, where we properly teach people how to use cash value life insurance exactly how we use them as family banks. They need to be funded properly. They need to be structured properly. And you need an elite agent to reach out to you every single year to be there for you. And that's what my team does. That's down below in the description of this video or on my social media platform. I'll see you on the inside. Warriors!